Welcome back, everyone. See if we can. They seem to have moved on, but we might be able to get a view of them north, which means they've gone up this drainage line. But we might be able to get into places that other vehicles can't go. We might be lucky. See what Ephraim has to say. Morning, all. How's it for? Hey, Carl. Anyway. Aye. Yeah. Okay, well, maybe we go into that other, that Ephraim shortcut. Otherwise, I'll try in here. Well, more guys, what farm? Okay, lavating again, yeah. I'll have a look. Nice new Land Cruiser. Old one. My dad one. Just arrived too late, and we are there. I can see a lion over there, just on the top of that little ridge. Maybe if we could try and find our way there. Drainage line is not going to work here, and we can't get through that little dip. But anyways, we'll just stop here for now. We'll see if she might come down this way. Seems to be sniffing around quite a bit. Let me go forward a bit for you. Maybe we can get in through there. But she seems to be very interested in something around the base of that tree. And they're following this drainage line north. What's that back, the back left tire for me? Some of the cats sitting there. You thought you could get away from us. Look how beautiful that is. That's good. You can go a little bit forward. Morning, ladies. Nice that they've actually become relaxed and they're lying down, and we managed to find them again. I don't think any of the other vehicles will be able to get here, I have to be honest. Well, welcome to Africa, and the most iconic of Africa's predators, I suppose, the lion. And we're very lucky to have them visit us today. Hopefully they'll be around for a little while. Hey cats, what do you say? The camera. So what I want to do well, this is a pride from predominantly up in the north of Djuma, just a place called Buffelshoek, a property called Buffelshoek, and this is part of their territory, so they do come onto Djuma periodically. And these are known as the Nkuhumas. Okay, let's move a little bit so we can get a better view of the pride. And it might be a little bit easier filming angle. They let me come in here. Morning, girls. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 only. Here's a big girl. A little bit of grooming going on. Interesting that there's some birds behind us alarming. You can see this one showing a little bit of interest in the sound of the bird's alarm calls. Hello, Cindy. Tennessee. Cindy's just noticing the spots on the thighs, the inside thighs of the cats, and wondering if it's age-related or if all of them have it. It's a throwback from a time when lion probably did have spots before they sort of came out onto the open savanna and became these social cats that live in prides, and their spots were no longer needed because they didn't need to hunt in dappled shade like I suppose like a leopard. I suppose it's sort of a throwback to when lion were somewhat different. They're born with spots, and depending on how they sitting or lying, sometimes you can see them a lot better. But it is somewhat age related, because the younger they are, the more spotty they are. If we look at some of the older females, if I could maybe move a little forward, we would see this one old female that's lying down here next to us. We see that she has fewer spots. I wonder what... Maybe it's the gene that's troubling those birds. Let me go a little bit forward and move so that my hat isn't in the way. A little bit better, but not quite. And you can still see, even though she's an adult female, you can still see a sort of vague, faint spot pattern. But they do tend to fade with age, fade in time. Georgie in Australia, good afternoon to you. Morning our time. Georgie wants to know about the nose, the colour of the nose of cats. And yes, Georgie, the colour of the nose has some reference to their age, because cubs are born with pink noses, and as they age, the nose starts getting black spots and then blotches, and then it becomes a bit marbled, and then by the age of 5 to 6 the nose is mostly black, and then as adults they have black noses. Hello, Dora. Ohio. Morning, Dora. Wanting to know if they look like they've recently fed. No, it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like they're really that skinny and hungry, but it doesn't look like they're very full. Looking at him standing there now. And not easy to tell with them lying down. This big female that's lying next to us looks quite full. She might have had something that others didn't have. Youngsters are looking a little bit empty. It's easier to tell when they're standing, when they're up. Interesting question from Texas. Morning, Jeffrey. Regarding hunting and cubs learning how to hunt. Do the lionesses teach the cubs how to hunt, or is it mostly an instinctive thing? I hope this is going to work. Hang on a sec there, Jeffrey. Go ahead. Yeah, lala phansi. Not far from where I left you. Oh, someone's decided to move on. Andrew, come in. Morning, for. They're still close to that clearing on Gallagher, in front of Gallagher. They're still close to that small track near Gallagher camp. Same lock where Ephraim was. Yeah, firm. But north of the Nkuhuma. Don't know how the Land Cruisers are going to get in. It's a little bit of a dual thing. There is a lot of there. As cubs, they'll chase things because there is an instinct. As a cat, there is that instinct to chase, and they do, of course, learn a lot when they play with each other. One of the things about having multiple births and maybe having multiple cubs within a pride is that play becomes a very important aspect of their lives, and in that process, they learn a lot, or they hone not only muscles but skills too. And there is a certain amount of instinct that drives them to sort of go for the throat or to sort of jump on a back and pull it down. So in terms of that kind of behavior or that part of the hunt, that is instinctive. Or is the word instinctual? I think it's instinctive, but open to correction. However, there's another side to lion that is not, and that is the cooperative hunting techniques that are required to bring down larger prey. And it's interesting how, what are they looking? Is there something? And this one was looking like she was going into a stalk mode. Being a pride animal, the ability to hunt together is a learning process that requires a lot of body language and a lot of teaching from the alpha female or the older females. And you find that when cubs start getting from about 6 months old already, they start getting interested in the hunt. And if they're not told to stay put while the adults are hunting, the cubs might actually get involved in the hunt, and sometimes they'll mess it up. But I've seen cubs of even 3-4 months old tugging at the tail of a buffalo while their mothers were trying to kill it. It took 45 minutes for the two mothers to kill and bring down a big adult bull buffalo. These cats are getting interested in something. So there is a need to be taught, or a need to learn what part each individual has to play within the hunt, and that varies according to terrain and time and prey species, or it depends what they're hunting. Marco in New Jersey. Morning, Marco. Wants to know the largest pride of lion I've ever seen. I think about 17. I can't really remember, Marco. She's being a bit sick, that one. Maybe a furball or something. But she's got a lot of mucus. She's trying to vomit. A lot of mucus coming out of her mouth and nose. Betty, the large male. Oh, sorry, what was that, Brian? I'm missing some of the questions. Oh, would the large male eat first? Ah, Betty, that's what it was. Would the large male eat first? Well, he's not a really large male. He's actually a youngster, by the way. But Betty, this is something that I can't really give an answer to until we're actually witnessing a particular pride. And even then, although maybe one day you might find that the male will eat first and on another day he won't. And a lot of it also depends on the size of the animal. I've seen times where they kill a warthog and the male comes along and he just takes the warthog away from the females, and then they get up and leave and they take their cubs away and they go and hunt something else entirely. It's almost like they placated the male so that they could go and feed their cubs without him stealing or without him interfering. This is a question that has to do with individual animals, and different prides will do different things, but even an individual will do something different on different days. I've seen lion prides where the male won't let any of the females near the carcass while he's eating, but he'll allow the young cubs to eat. And I've seen where males will even give a swipe at a young cub that comes near. I've seen males that allow the whole pride to eat with them, and on other days they don't. I think a lot of it has also got to do with the level of hunger within the pride, because very often when they haven't been eating for a while and they are quite hungry, if they kill something, there's a free-for-all to try and get a little piece of whatever it may be. And even though there might be a fairly large animal like a wildebeest or a zebra or a buffalo, and there's certainly enough food to go around, there are times when they're so hungry that they dive in, and some of them get injured then because they get so aggressive with each other. All this lovey-dovey that we see under these circumstances changes when there's meat on the table. So unfortunately, one of those questions where the answer starts, or it depends on so many things, and it's largely got to do with the character and the personality and the tolerance and the temperament of the individual male within the male or males within the pride, and the level of hunger and the size of the animal. Donna, morning Donna in Missouri. How old do we think, or do I think this young male is? Probably about 3.5, not quite 4 maybe. Maybe only 3. And he's got the mane is looking like a little bit older than just a 3-year-old. But he's also getting to a size now where he's going to need to be moving on. Although his fathers, I'm assuming they're the fathers, the Matimba males, who seem to be the dominant males of this pride, seem to still tolerate him, and despite his size. Hillary, you're quite correct. Hillary is saying that this young male is going to have a hard time when he leaves this pride, because I suppose one of the main things is that he is a lone male. There's a strong possibility that, oh, she's got a goiter on her elbow, that youngster. A huge abscess or a goiter, or a, I don't know, maybe not a goiter, but it's looking, my elbow is looking similar to that actually. Big something. Doesn't seem to be affecting it too much. Where are you going, little boy? Better shade. Oh, you want grass? Maybe. Morning, Jody, New Mexico. I think he's looking for some grass to eat. Helps with stomach ailments. I'm gonna go down into the drainage line maybe. Jody, hi there Jody, New Mexico. See him right in front of the car eating grasses. What was that? Sorry, what was Jody asking? Sorry, Jody, it slipped my mind. I was concentrating on what a lion was doing in front of the vehicle. Ah, leopard smell. Ah. Often we've spoken about the smell of leopard scent marking, which smells like buttered popcorn. Jody wants to know what a lion scent marking smells like. I can't really say it smells anything like leopard, but it doesn't really have much of a smell that I pick up. I can't really describe it. It's not really, I can't really say that you drive around and you smell something and say, oh, that smells like a lion scent marking, because it's pretty much I don't know, I guess my nose just doesn't pick it up. I don't really smell much when it comes to lion scent marking. Some of the grasses that they eat have got fine hairs that all face in a particular direction, and chewing the grasses into a ball and swallowing it makes like this. It's like a brush almost, a miniature brush. That going through the digestive system actually helps to rid them of internal parasites. In fact, there are, in some species of animals, they specifically eat certain things to help with the internal parasite load. Morning, Jennifer. Up in Canada, Toronto. Is there a dominant female? Is there a hierarchy? Is there a leading female in the pride? Yes, there is, actually. She decides when to go, where to go. And I don't know, with zebra as well. I think in most cases you will find that there is always going to be in any group of females there will be a hierarchy amongst the females with an alpha or a dominant female, even though it might be a male dominated society or a male a group of animals where there is a dominant male and a group of females. There will still be an age-related hierarchy within a herd or pride or group of females. Amounts. Wendy, St. Petersburg. How much would a pride like this eat in a week? I can't answer that. It could be anything from nothing to 2 or 3 buffalo. Let's put it this way: if they, I don't know how to answer that really. How much could they eat in a week? A few animals, several impala, maybe 2 buffaloes. I'm not saying the equivalent of several impala, although they're not likely to catch impala. Thing is, they could kill 1 zebra and then not eat for a week, or they could kill 3 zebra in a week. It's not a routine thing like we have routine meal times. There are times when they can go for a few days or a while without eating. So it's always difficult. I never really know how to answer how much does an animal eat, because it's how do you measure it? How do you quantify? I don't know how to do that, because it's so random. They might kill a buffalo and feed on 1 buffalo, and then might still be full when they kill another buffalo. And another week they might not have anything at all. So I'm not too sure how to go about answering that. I'm kind of puzzled. Interesting. From Tom in Seattle. How's Washington these days? Cold and wet, perhaps? Tom in Washington wants to know what signs would there be if they were unhappy about my presence or my proximity. They certainly wouldn't be lying flat on their side with their eyes closed and their ears relaxed and their tails barely moving. The first sign of a lion being uncomfortable with one's presence is a frown, and the positioning of the ears. And ear positions in cats are universal. Anything that sort of where ears are flattening towards the back are aggressive signs. So a lion that is, or a lioness, a cat that is sitting next to the vehicle and is starting to frown, the ears may be going flat a little bit. Of course, you'll see a very distinctive flicking of the tail sideways, very distinct, very strong movement of the tail that is unmistakable as a warning. And if they really mean business, the upper lip starts lifting, showing the canines, snarling, growling. And if you're still not taking heed of those warnings, then they might start actually striking out with paws and spitting and growling more audibly, if not even charging at the vehicle. Oh, we couldn't see that, but he lay down right on top of the youngsters. Maybe I should just ease back a little bit so we can see those little ones. But this is the time of day that I'll find the spike thorn. Taking jackets. Go ahead, Andrew. Yeah, affirmative. Yeah, affirm. Which side are you coming from? Okay, copied. Alright, let me know when you get to that clearing. Try and guide him in here, but I don't know how. I will get him in here.
Hopefully from down there he'll see us.
Well, he won't get in there. Not with a Land Cruiser. He wouldn't get through that first drainage line. Lee, I think it was. So it's hard to... I get a question as I'm getting a call from the other radio, and then I'm trying to listen to two people at once. But Lee was asking, what age will his mane be full? Probably around 5 or 6, but it'll still continue to. I mean, as long as he is aging, there will still be hair developing on his mane and going down his arms, along his back. But pretty much at 5 or 6, when they're pretty full, the mane. Just in time for some serious fighting to be done and to protect the neck. It's starting to warm up, and they're on a little bit of an open patch up here. Will be a lot cooler down there in the drainage line. She might be going down there, but they are going to have to move at some point. Also wanting a bit of grass. Hello, Barbara in Chicago. Gosh, another question that I don't know how to answer. Barbara wants to know, with all the days old kills that they eat and things, what could be causing stomach troubles that may be causing vomiting? And well, I don't know. I really don't know. It wasn't quite vomiting. I mean, it was sort of dry heaving more than anything else that cub was doing, and a little bit of mucus coming out. Maybe just, I have no idea. I haven't seen any of the others vomiting, but at least 3 of them have been chewing on a bit of grass, but that's normal. All cats and dogs do that. Help to cleanse the system. She's also looking for some more of those tall grasses. Now, having not seen what they've been up to for the last couple of weeks, I'm not too sure if there is anything ailing them. They aren't looking very, very full. It looks like that they could hunt at any moment. I think if something were to come along right now, they'd probably bring it down. If there were to be buffalo or something here, I don't think they would hesitate. It's fairly thick bush. In some respects it could be quite easy, in others it could be quite difficult. Buffalo turns his back into a really thick bush and keeps his horns, or rather with his horns keeps the lion at bay. It'll be hard for them to get to him. Yes, folks, some of you saying you heard some dogs barking. You're quite right, there were some dogs barking. We aren't very far from Nkuhuma, from the lodge at WildEarth, and the general manager of WildEarth and her husband, Candice and Mike, live at the lodge. Their house is there with their kid, and they have a fenced-in garden with dogs. They've got 2 pointers, I think. Aren't they pointers?
Yeah, I think so.
2 pointers and a dachshund. And something must have disturbed the dogs. They're normally quite good. But it actually just shows how close we are to the lodge. We in a straight line, maybe 400 meters, if that. Maybe it comes way in through there. I should just actually have a look, because it'd be nice to know for later if we need to come and look for them while they actually still fast asleep, before they start getting up because of the need to move to shade. Let's see if I can't. Morning, Ton. Nice to hear from you. Ton in the Netherlands. Have I seen lion eating waterbuck? Yes, I have, on many occasions, Ton. There's no way through here either. There's a fallen tree. And a cliff face. That might be the road over there. We'll have to wait to see if Andrew can get in here somehow. But there's not going to be any going out of this little spot that we're in, or coming in. You can actually see the mast from Nkuhuma, which is probably another 200 meters from this side of camp where that house is that the dogs were barking. So way in the distance you can actually see the mast where our broadcast stuff is. Signal going from here to there. Yeah, somehow I think Morning, Valerie. Interesting question too. Have I recently or ever heard a sound in the bush that I don't know? Very often, all the time. Strange sounds and there's no way of finding out what it is. You hear it once, you never heard it before. And sometimes it becomes a mystery until maybe one day, 10 years down the line, you find out. Andrew, keep coming. Yeah, firm. Hopefully I'll hear you. I'm just waiting for you. It's very difficult to get in here. Okay, but I'm going to try to guide you in. Keep coming. I've got a feeling that that's where Ephraim was when we first saw him, just down there. So I'm just waiting here to see if I can guide Andrew in here, because if I was sitting with the lion I wouldn't be able to see him. There he is. I followed the drainage line. Okay, but these Ngala are still behind me some more. I just came here to try to find you. They're like on this big mound in the middle. There's a big tambuti behind me that's underneath there. Yeah, I think if you can go down and try and follow the route. Interesting bush this. Not sure what it is even. Sometimes it could be getting back to sounds and things. It's sometimes very difficult because even occasionally a bird that I hear, and then I listen to all the bird sounds that I think it might be, and I can't find it. And then of course what happens is through that process of trying to find it, getting confused about all sorts of other sounds. I'm going to stop here for them, and because I need to sit and try and guide Andrew in here. We're going to be moving on, go and find something else, but it'd be nice if we can just help him and his guests come to see the lion. So when it's an animal sound and it's sort of, it's not a usual contact call or something. It might be an alarm call, or sometimes there are just strange sounds that the brain eventually just can't recall what it really sounds like, because it happens quickly, and you don't. It's hard to describe. Sometimes there's a noise and you say, "Wow, what was that?" And you just don't ever hear it again. And even though you're familiar with all the animals and birds that might occur in an area, there's always going to be something you don't know. There's always. Oops. Sleeping cats. Sorry, confirm you can't get through? Are you Bajiwan? Okay, copied. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Okay, copied. Yeah, I'm going to pull out then. Okay, we're going to leave the cat sleeping and carry on with our drive. I believe there's signs of Nkuhuma earlier. Of course, now we've got to get ourselves out of here. Andrew, I'm going to try to get out on Gallagher shortcut. I'm going to just have a look, because we might be able to, and then if we go out through there, we can get through this drainage line. Somehow I don't think so. Not going to work to go to Gallagher shortcut. We can try. You can see. Go through here. But there's that other shortcut that comes in from Gallagher shortcut that can't be too far away. Problem is this particular riverbed that is tricky, because it's very long grasses and hidden steep banks. Look, there's a red-headed fly on the buffalo thorn leaf. And I think this is where I might get myself a little bit caught up, because it's way too deep. So I'm not even going to try and go further. And the red-headed fly is hiding behind that leaf, just behind that blade of grass. There it is. Looks like a giant rubber fly. The entire head, eye, mouth parts, everything on the head is bright red. They're very slow flying and slow moving flies. Quite interesting. through there. Let's try through here maybe. Not through there either. Maybe that was Kanyeni's tracks. Yesterday, the tracks that we had. Young female. Ah, and this is also way too deep. Two of them are. And if I bump into anyone from Arathusa, I can ask them. Sarah in California, the bird that was calling, I was thinking of it, could have been the grey-headed bush shark. Sarah wants to know the bird that was calling with that kudu cow. I did hear a grey-headed bush shark, which is known as a ghost bird, because it's somewhat ventriloquial. You never really tell where the sound is coming from, and they're always in relatively thick bush. They skulk through the trees, through the bushes, and glean insects off of leaves, and they don't really hunt like most of the other sharks, sitting on a perch and diving on insects in the grasses. They tend to hunt things, skulk through the trees, through the bushes, and glean insects off of leaves, and they don't really hunt like most of the other sharks, sitting on a perch and diving on insects in the grasses. They tend to hunt things in the vegetation. Anything from lizards and small snakes. They're a fairly large shark with a very large beak. Maybe it was like this. Not that unwavering. Squirrel shark. Squirrels plural. Shark. I'm not gonna see anything now. Can't even see the squirrel. Quite frantic. Could be a snake. Very thick. That one. I should put an app on my phone. So that if we get a call, and then I can just make my phone do the call. And then you can tell me if that's the right one. But I think that's the one you're thinking of, Sarah. moving in this part of the world before we go back to the west. Clouding over again. Gonna keep it fairly cool during the day. Hopefully those cats will move a little bit and we'll find them elsewhere later. Good chance that if something came along that they might go hunting. Or if they move and they come across buffalo or something big. Monkey oranges, but no fruits. Who's been walking where? Hyena, giant elephant. None of it really fresh though. Something going on up there. Torchwood, I suppose. Andrew, come in. I only saw 8. Yeah, firm. Eish. Young Madodo was there. They're still still speculating that there's one of the lionesses. Now, we only saw 8, but that could... One of them... Andrew, that big Mafazi was there. Andrew, you copy? The big Mafazi was there. No, she was. Any updates since I last spoke to you? Is that near Sydney's Dam? Okay, copy, thanks. Very interesting stuff I've just picked up on the radio. Just listening, getting my facts straight. I think, a lot of chatter now. There was talk of 2 young male lions that had come in from Buffelshoek this morning. They had crossed past the gate. They were seen on Simbambili, which is just to the west of us, west of the gate. But they evidently came back this way. And they've now been found just on Buffelshoek, not very far north from where we had the Nkuhumas. And they've killed and are eating a young lioness. Now, I wasn't really paying much attention when we were sitting with the pride, but if I can remember correctly, there were 3 adult lionesses were there, if I'm not mistaken. And it's probably the one middle cub, the sort of 3, the young male, I think his sister. Sounds like it could be his sister that those 2 males have killed. Why? Well, there's no answer why they would have done something like that. It's not a question you can ask. It's just what lions do. Lions are their own worst enemies. What is that beautiful bird in the tree? A hornbill. Sitting in the sun above the pan. Worry pan that's a kingfisher, it's not a hornbill. I better go back to school. But obviously a disturbing bit of news, and unfortunately we can't go there, so I'm just going to have to rely on listening to what the guys are saying about it. I wonder what we ought to do. If we can't go there, there's not much point in going near there. Vehicles are going to be converging on it. We've got an elephant to find. Or a buffalo. Or an eagle. Or an impala. Doug, in Arizona, if it was a particular elephant that was, oh gosh, if there was an elephant that was particularly aggressive towards vehicles, safari vehicles, what action would be taken? In the Kruger National Park, when elephants have done things, they have been euthanized. I don't know what measures would be taken here. I would assume for the safety of guests and, well, for human safety, I guess it would be taken out. I hope that doesn't happen, but unfortunately, sometimes if an elephant has an injury that is totally unrelated to vehicles or humans, sometimes you get an elephant with an abscess under the tooth or something wrong with it, and it just becomes naturally aggressive towards almost anything big. And it's never found out until the animal has been euthanized, and then of course an autopsy is done and they find an underlying problem. I guess in a sense mitigated to some degree, but it's still one of those things. We are in their world, but it is an unfortunate circumstance that we're in, because the very fact that it is their world means that it has to derive revenue. It has to perform a function in order for it to be conserved, in order for it to be protected. An area, I mean, it has to be a functioning area, and the most lucrative, I suppose, the best return you can get for any given piece of land here in Africa is through photographic tourism. It's the best utilization you can get out of it. You could dig up all the trees and plow up the land and put in a crop, and it'll never give the financial return that sustainable tourism can bring in. And because you have a commercial enterprise, and because it all has a commercial value, an elephant that is a bit of a rogue has the potential to destroy all of that. Fortunately, it doesn't happen too often. There's certainly no action taken against the elephant that put a hole in his Land Rover, 2 holes. And maybe she'll go on to just ignore vehicles in the future. Maybe she won't even bother with vehicles, because she's had her way with the vehicle now. She's done what she's needed to do. Monarchs flying around today. Hello, butterflies. BJ, hello BJ. Have humans ever been killed in the Kruger by animals, and what were the circumstances? There have been, yes. Gosh, I guess there have been a few incidents in the past. Rangers being killed. I don't mean guards, tourist guards. I mean sort of park rangers. Circumstances, I don't know, BJ. I'd have to look at the history of each individual case. I know there's been the odd lion kill, there's been the odd elephant kill, and if you can include the private reserves, up where I am in the Timbavati, we had a chef once that was killed by lion because he decided to go and visit another camp, and he had a few too many drinks, and he decided to walk back with, I don't know if he had a bicycle, but he decided to walk back to his lodge in the middle of the night, and got eaten by lion. And the next day the game drive vehicle saw some lion eating something, and they started seeing little bits of chef uniform. Invariably it's human stupidity that results in a human getting killed by an animal, and unfortunately it's always the animal that gets blamed. I remember there was a case of a guy getting taken off his bicycle just outside Kruger from a leopard that got out of the reserve. There are cases of attacks, but not fatal attacks. Quite recently there was somebody taken off his bicycle by an elephant in the Timbavati. You know, people can be really, really stupid when it comes to how they behave in a wild area. And I guess it's no longer ignorance is bliss, because to a large extent some of these people are not ignorant, they're just arrogant. I live near a big share block area where there are a lot of city people, very well-to-do city people that have fancy big homes and lodges in the share block system. And they come from the city and they still want to go jogging and mountain biking because they've got to keep up their routine or something. So they'll get on their bicycle and ride along the main road with the spouse driving just behind them or right next to them. And then none of that really matters, because when that elephant wants to get you, because it doesn't like these things. Most elephants don't like humans on bicycles. And when you approach these people and you explain to them that their ill ways or the likely outcome of what they're doing, they laugh in your face and they carry on. And there's very little one can do. And it clearly states in the rules of the park that you're not allowed to do these things. And, well, a couple of months ago, there was a guy taken off his bicycle by an elephant and killed. There's a guy, a lawyer from Johannesburg, I believe, an attorney, who's actually suing the security guys who forced him off of his bicycle because they wanted to not only protect him, but the animals that were likely to do him harm. And he's suing them because he's claiming them to be prejudiced. He's claiming that they targeting him for something. Because a lot of the park rangers, the anti-poaching guys, not a lot of them, but there are some of them that ride bikes, but they ride bikes with rifles, they're on patrol. So it's bound to happen in a wildlife area. It's like the story of a person who put honey on their child and wanted the bear to lick the honey off of their child or something. I heard a story like that coming from the States. Or people that do silly things in bear country. Invariably, it's just human error, I want to put it mildly. They're not, BJ, not that there are many incidents. They're very few and far between. There've been a couple of incidents of people misbehaving with their vehicles and really getting the anger of elephants up, and elephants retaliating to people misbehaving with their vehicles. Now, I suppose I fall under that category, but I don't believe I was misbehaving. I believe I was being quite respectable. And she didn't do anything too bad. But there have been a couple of incidents in the park with little hire cars, those little compact vehicles, and elephants flipping them over and injuring people. There was a case of, there are traffic cops in the park that monitor the speed of vehicles because people can drive exceptionally fast. They don't understand, even though they know that there's a speed limit, and even though they know that animals don't get out of the way. There's still people that will speed. There are specific times, gate times, when one has to be in and out of gates, and you're not allowed to be driving around. And often people will find that they're the times of day when the best things are happening. And so sometimes you might find people speeding. And so there was an incident a while ago, last year sometime, with some cops. Should we take the riverbed for a change? I see a buffalo. Some cops were trapping up near Palabora Gate, and there was a bull elephant that started evidently harassing them, and they put it down, which is sad because you've got to take their word for it. Hello boys, look at all of you. I guess we're not going too far down this riverbed. We've got a bit of a roadblock. See, now this is what you don't want to come across, is a boy like this when you're walking. Hello, Mr. Buffalo. I don't want to disturb them too much, so we're not going to go much further forward. They all look pretty relaxed. No need, it's not really hot today, so instead of going to the wallows and the dams, they're just lying here in the soft, cool sand. He's displaying that one. Shaking trees, trying to intimidate us. Morning again, Ton. In Holland, in Netherlands. Let's move along. Bye, boys. Ton wants to know if elephants ever have twins, and if they do have twins, is the mother able to raise both of them, or do they sacrifice one of them? Ton, it is possible, it is very rare that elephants do have twins. And if they do have twins, they'll raise both of them as equally as one. Elephants are very, very emotional and very, very maternal. And she will be able to raise both of them. Of course, normally what happens is there is in a family unit, there are a number of elephants, a number of cows, and it could even be that there is even another cow that is, bless you, could even be another cow that is lactating. So elephants are able to suckle each other's calves within a family unit called allosucklings, and they have such tight bonds, such tight families, that a sister or another daughter, other elephant in the group would help to raise those calves and to help look after them. Ton was referring to the giant pandas, I think, that sacrifice one of their... I'm not too sure of the breeding habits of pandas, but from what Ton is saying is that pandas won't raise both of them, but that's because pandas don't have the help of other members of the family, I don't think. I don't know much about pandas, panda behavior, but I don't think that they're as social and as tight-knit as elephants are, so hard to really compare the two. Wild dogs evidently up on Chitwa. Cheetah still up north. Morning, Chris, in Australia. Actually, a good afternoon, Chris, in Australia. Wanting to know if buffalo have a certain rutting season. Oh, look at these flies. What flies are they? Stop, one of you. These buffalo type flies. There's a lot of flies all of a sudden. Almost like tsetse flies. Chris in Australia. I've got a brain that can't be explained. Buffaloes and rutting season. Hey, my brain is... You see, there's just too much stimulus around me. And I have this uncanny habit of I'm about to answer a question, see something else and talk about something else. Anyways, Chris, they don't really have a rutting season. They don't really have a time of the year. Buffalo breed pretty much all year round. that wood.
Yeah.
Hate that sound. No, not a hate, it's just a hot-stopping sound. Sometimes the tracks are a little bit covered, going around bends and things.
I saw some animal down in this, right at the end.
Or where the road goes through. Could be that kudu that we were watching earlier.
Yeah, I think maybe.
But she was, yeah, there's her. I'm going to get a view of her through here. So that's where the road crosses through where we did see her earlier. Possibly the same one. Hello, Rick and Susie in Hawaii. Aloha. Has there ever been any incidents of buffalo hitting or flipping safari vehicles? One or two. A friend of mine, not really a safari vehicle, but his Land Cruiser. Buffalo, but that's because there was a big breeding herd and he was being naughty. He wasn't being patient. Friend, I should call him an acquaintance. Oh look, he's got a baby, this kudu. He was trying to force his way through a breeding herd and I guess they objected to it. And one of them hit the front of his vehicle. Flipping a vehicle, no, never heard of that. But I've heard of the odd 2 calves, 3 calves, a bunch of the kudu here. That one kudu that we saw earlier is the same, this is the same group, but we saw her on her own earlier. And here, I think we might have seen this lot. There's 1, 2, 3 cows, 3 calves. Calves are running away. 4 cows. 3 calves. Pity about the thatching grass though. Morning girls. We just want to sell her. Thatching grass is all in the way. Come babies, you better come back to your mothers. Come little ones. Come on. Come back to your mommy. Hello D in Minnesota. Nice to hear from you, D. D's referring to some of the people that live in the reserves that have dogs. You know, some of the reserves actually have a policy that you're not allowed domestic animals. I think it's wrong, personally, I'm afraid to say, because you're bringing domestic animals into contact with wild animals, and the crossover of domestic diseases into wild populations has happened in the past. It is possible. But yeah, D's asking, with these people that do live in reserves with domestic dogs, and even in some cases cats. Cats are even worse, because, and I'm a cat person, I love cats. But if you don't have a spayed or a neutered cat, and a cat is in contact with wild populations of African cats, you're destroying the gene pool. You're just messing with nature. But yes, Dee was asking, do the fences around these homes, do they protect these pets from predators and snakes? No, they don't. Baboons, leopards, puff adders and Mozambique spitting cobras. I'm going to go this way and then turn around. I'd say are the 4 primary causes of death amongst domestic animals in the bush. I don't know what it is. People think that raising a dog in the bush is different in that it becomes bushwise, and it depends on how it's treated, and it depends on how well. Still, I'm not really fond of the idea. But yes, baboon will make a point of trying to kill a dog. Leopard will make a point of trying to hunt domestic dogs. And because of the nature of dogs, when they see something like a puff adder or a Mozambique spitting cobra, they are going to bark or try and bite, and they are going to get bitten. So I'd say those are the 4 sort of primary threats to any domestic animal, whether you've got a fence or not. But it is a little unfair because you have to keep domestic animals caged up. But then I suppose there are people all over the world that live in apartments and keep their animals. There's still one calf in the bush behind us. Little animal that's still got to grow into its ears. Almost like it's got adult ears already. Judy, hello Judy in Canada. Features that distinguish a female kudu from a female Inyala. And you know, Judy, it's very difficult to gauge size when you're watching from across the world and to try and get an idea of size. But when you're in Africa, you can't mistake the two. I mean, that baby kudu is about, even that young kudu that we're seeing there is bigger than a female Nyala. So perhaps a young kudu baby like that would maybe be confused with a female Nyala. The Nyala would be a little bit more orange and her stripes would be a little bit closer together. But an adult kudu is 5 times bigger than a Nyala, very much bigger. The Nyala also has a much more curved back. You can see that the adult, this female kudu, you get the nuchal muscle or the nuchal hump, that hump above the shoulders, and then it's more or less like a concave back. The female Nyala has got more of a convex, more of a curved back. And I wanted to do this earlier. I wanted to get sort of females and males of each screenshots. Marjo, I think Marjo in the Netherlands, Marjo, you did send me some photos of male and female kudu and things. But I don't just want normal photo. I want to actually have them on screen, so we can get a screenshot of the side of one of each. We need to do that. And then of course bushbuck is so much smaller than nyala as well, so a lot of it has got to do with size. The key time for a new viewer, somehow what kind of scale we're looking at. So if we were looking at these female kudu, to try and give you an idea, I would say that their shoulder height, let's see if we can get a view over here. The shoulder height of this female, I'd say if I was standing next to her, we would probably be eye level with each other. So her head is 5.5 to 5'10", somewhere around there. When I'd say we have pretty similar shoulder heights if I was to stand next to her. Nyala would probably come up to my waist. They're bulking up like other animals were doing yesterday. Maybe weather coming in. We're also going into new moon. That'll change the weather. Still convinced of that. Full moon. When I went home for full moon, had the biggest storm on full moon that I've had in a long time. In fact, we had a bit of a storm here too. It was probably full moon. A hailstorm that happened here. Was it on drive?
Yeah, there was some rain on one of the drives. Don't recall hail though.
I think it was the same storm that came up to the Timbavati the Thursday after I left, which was full moon, I think, or the day before was full moon.
What is that hump on the back for?
The shoulders.
Yeah.
It's the ridge of the lumbar vertebra that carry the muscle and tendons that hold the neck up, hold the head, that carry the neck, that carry the weight of the head. It's called the nuchal muscle, or the nuchal hump. So you'll find bulls of animals that have heavy horns have heavier nuchal muscles. Okay, kudu, thank you very much. Anna in New Jersey is asking about kudu's cousins of kudu. The eland. Are the eland the largest in the antelope family? And yes, they are, Anna. They are massive. Oh, here's a wild pear just in front of us. This round leaf here. That's a little wild pear. Those beautiful flowers at the beginning of the season. If we were to ever be live in September again. And do eland ever occur here at Juma? Yes, I think maybe there might have been in the past. I have never seen eland here. Oh, no, don't go, squirrel, don't go. Was sitting on this termite mound eating a marula nut. I wanted to watch that. But I think we'll find that again in our afternoon drive. We will be able to, because this is what squirrels are doing now. They're not only eating them, but they're also caching them. Caching and storing them for later retrieval. If they can remember where they put them. Sometimes not. Hello. Hi everybody, welcome back. Sorry I lost you right here at the end of drive. I was on the radio. I think we're having trouble every now and then. Conflicting EMF frequencies or something. News update on this lion saga that we have been trying to follow on the radio, or I've been trying to follow on the radio, trying to get an idea of what's going on. It appears now that those two young males that we heard of earlier that had killed a lioness up on Buffelshoek have been joined by their brothers. They appear to be the Birmingham males, evidently. 5 of them are there now. And look, here we have some Nyala. Keep that image of the kudu in your mind when we stop and look at these Nyala. So now 5 Birmingham males up then east of Sydney's Dam on Buffelshoek, not far from the Nkuhumas, that have killed and partially eaten a lioness. Just a little boy Nyala, but might get to see his mother. You'll notice a much more rounded body. We can see them. Funny, sometimes they are so bold, now all of a sudden they're so shy. But these are ones that maybe are not that familiar with the lodge. You need to go right into the lodge and you can stand next to it. There we go, there's Mama Nyala. More reddish, it's got a few spots on the back, on the hind quarters. Stripes are closer together and a much more curved back. Both of these two youngsters are little boys. One is only just getting his horn buds and the other one's got horns of about an inch. So a mother and her 2 boys. About the 2 little ones. Although maybe not, I think. I think 2 lambs, calves. Anyways, how about lambs, calves? Anyways, bye-bye Nyala, we'll see you later. Doubtful if we'll find out very soon which lioness it was, but it's possibly one of the Nkuhumas. I did only find 8 of them there this morning, and although it's possible that there was a lioness, another one of the pride sleeping deeper in the bush that we didn't see. So we'll, I guess, get answers to that later if we're lucky. And there are the geese and the goslings, our local ducks. Hello Gary Dam, Juma Waterhole Gary Dam. My duck 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 goslings, so all 6 still alright. We did lose the one a couple of months ago, maybe about a month ago or more. One of the goslings was limping and it obviously slowed it down so that it was no longer able to keep up, and something must have taken it. Couple of big Nyala bulls on the other side in front of the lodge. But thanks for joining me. I'm so happy we found lion this morning, and I hope it's going to be able to find them this afternoon. hope that... Oh, you want me? Unfortunately, the back of my head. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I will see you this afternoon. From Andrew on camera, Brian in final control, myself, Mark, and all of us here at WildEarth.